Amin, what are the working conditions generally in the factories? Can you tell us something about the working conditions and safety standards, both?
So, after Rana Plaza, safety condition literally improved. Building safety, electrical safety and fire safety. In this side there is some development and improvement. But the other condition like salary, it is actually did not sufficient, even the lower for the workers. The salary that the workers are getting minimum 8,000 taka. It is 8,000 taka, it means 80 euro in a month. So this is really very low wage. So by this way they cannot maintain their family. On the other hand, they are working still long hours, and there is one new system, that is the target system. In the name of complete the target, fulfill the target, there is always some pressure towards the workers.
Okay. Yes. Now, you mentioned 8,000 taka is now the minimum wage. What is your demand towards the government for the new minimum wage? It has not been increased since 5 years. This is intolerable. So,
yeah.
What are your demands? What are you demanding?
Our demand, the minimum should 23,000 taka.
Okay.
And according to that, the skilled worker, they will get more.
Yeah. And do you say that with 23,000 taka, a family can live from?
It is also hard to maintain the whole family by 23,000 taka. But if within the family, when husband and wife, they work jointly, then it will be possible to maintain.
So you need two earners, breadwinners,
yes,
in order to have a good living wage.
Yes.
Okay. Now, how do workers live in their houses? Do they share rooms? How many persons live in one room? Can you say something?
In some cases, very small room, husband, wife, they actually live. Some of the room, it is a small, but 3 or 4 workers, they are sharing in the room. And some of the cases, you see, maybe one bathroom for 10 or 12 room. Each of the room, there are 4 workers. It means for 40 workers, maybe one toilet, maybe for 20 families, there is one kitchen. So this is actually the reality.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Now, what about the contracts of workers? First of all, do they get a contract, working contract?
So by law, all the workers should get their appointment letter. But unfortunately, till now, all the workers, they are not getting their appointment letter and all other documents. So most of the cases, the workers, they only receive their attendance card.
Okay. Do they have vacation?
They get some vacation, but this is not according to law, less than the law.
Okay, okay. How can they complain? Is there any possibility if workers have to complain? What would they do?
Inside the factory, especially the factories, actually there is no union, there is no mechanism to raise any complaint. So then from those factories, the workers directly come to the union. It means the federation office, and federation sometimes handle this labor dispute and complaint.
Yeah. How many factories are unionized? We have about 4,000 factories. How many of them are unionized?
So altogether, plus minus in 1,000 factories, there is the union. But among these 1,000, at least 300 union, those are not active, inactive, it means either the factory relocated or closed down.
So more or less, then you would say 700
So
factories
you
have
can
a
say
functioning.
in 700 factories there is a functioning union.
And how many collective bargaining agreements do you have?
Collective bargaining agreement in whole sector, I think it will be 50 or 60.
Only.
But we, the National Government Workers Federation, among this, out of 50 or 60, we have 12 collective bargaining agreements.
Okay.
And I already mentioned that in the whole industry, 700 unions, with NGWF, 106 unions.
Yeah, okay. I mean, is there a minimum age to work in a factory?
Minimum age, it is 18, but some of the factories, especially the small scale factories and subcontracting factories, still now there are some workers, those are under 18, like 15, 16, even 14.
So when children are working, it's because parents don't have sufficient earning. They are earning just not enough for a living. Yeah. When you try to organize workers, how dangerous is it to become a trade unionist?
So it is really very hard job. Hard job because in Bangladesh, when we want to run the trade union, obviously we need to address the workers' issue, and when we address the workers' real problem and issues, the industry people, the owners, the business class, they go against us, and different type of threat, different type of false cases, different time, even different, and some of the time they hire some bad people against the trade union activists. And another problem is in Bangladesh, there is no differences between the business class and government. It means that business class and government, their role almost same. So that is the reason it is also risky than any other country.
I think when you say business class, you mean about business owners or factories?
Yes, owners.
And I think about 34 owners are also member of parliament.
More than.
More than that?
More than.
Okay, even more. 50 or?
I think so, 50 or 60.
Okay, yeah, all right. What about gender discrimination in factories, like such as sexual violence, maternity leave denial?
Sexual harassment, discrimination. In some cases, there is a discrimination in ways, discrimination in position, and mainly discrimination in promotion. So, we are observing maybe a young women and young men, they are joining in the factory in the same time, same position as a worker. The man gradually promoted, becoming the supervisor, line chief or production manager, but unfortunately promotion it is restricted for the women. So it is restricted, it means that the business people, the owners or management, they thought that by pressurizing the workers, they have to take the production, more production. So for pressure, for threat, the workers, women, normally they will not do it and they cannot do it. That is the reason they choose almost all the managerial posts from the men's side, not the women's side. If you see the nature of the industry, then 80% of the bottom level, like helper and operators, 80% they are women. On the other hand, in the top level, from supervisor to manager, 80% are men. So this is all discrimination, especially for the women issues. Most of the factories, the women, they are not properly getting the maternity benefit with leave. And most of the factories, there is no daycare center. So this is some of the cases, some of the factories, even different form of sexual harassment, it is also happening.
And what would you say, what type of health problems are in the factories?
So there are a lot of, so because of pressure, load of pressure for the work, so the workers, they cannot use the toilets according to the necessity. Many times they cannot get the pure water, drinking water. So many of the factories, the light and ventilation, it is not also sufficient. So naturally, as a result of this, many of the workers becoming sick. On the other hand, you see, also sometimes they come from long distance. So this is also another burden for the workers.
Okay, now speaking about sports, there are big sport companies like Adidas, Puma and Nike. Are they here in Bangladesh? Have you heard about them?
Nike, I think, have 2 or 3 factories. They source from 2 or 3 factories. I am not sure about Puma and Adidas. A sports industry, a sports factory in Bangladesh, it is very small scale.
Okay. And when there are sports events like football and so on, is there a higher increase and more pressure in factories for production? Have you ever noticed that?
In some of the factories, there is the heavy pressure, more pressure than the normal time.
Would you say that more expensive brands, such as Hugo Boss and some others, they are producing in better factories than the cheap ones, or is it the same all over?
It is almost the same.
So the same working conditions?
Same working conditions, same
expensive?
price. Same price, it means price for the factory owners, for the factory, not the price for the product.
That's right.
They are selling, it is high price, but they are not providing according to that, to the factory owners.
What can we do in Germany to support trade unions and workers here?
As a country, I think Germany actually the second biggest importers of Bangladeshi garment production. So that is the reason I think the German people, they can play a major role, because this is actually business. And if the consumer, if the people ask the brands to change their purchasing policy, then little change can come to the ground level. When the consumers, they are actually purchasing, or when they are taking their product from the brands, from the retail shop or stores, they actually should ask what is the condition of the workers, those products they are using. So on the basis of that, they can also put pressure to the brands, the people, the consumers, the normal people, they can put pressure to the brands to change this bad condition and to ensure the fair price, and even they can also organize some monitoring system with the composition of local trade union, whether this fair price it is really going to the for the workers or not. So I think they can also do these things. It is to change the purchasing policy to ensure the fair price, even to monitor these things. It is only can happen if the consumers, if the normal people put pressure to the brands, then these things can happen.
What about certificates like fair trade or global organic textile standard? Have you heard about them? Do you know it?
I have some idea about the fair trade. They actually maintain some of the conditions, but most of the cases they actually do not maintain all the conditions. So,
And what about global organic textile standard?
I do not have much experience about this.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you too.